Welcome everyone to another installment of the Round Tables, the specific podcast for the release the Snyder Cut account. I am back, your host Manu, and I'm really, really happy. I want to thank all of the other hosts that have picked up from where we left off and have continued week in and week out to give incredible installments of this incredible podcast filled with so much love and passion from all corners of the world for Zack Snyder's work. And I am
Yes.
really happy to be here for episode number 12 with some familiar faces and a brand new one. So, from the first episode that we did, I brought back Kareem and Vega. How you guys doing?
Woo-hoo.
We're
Doing
doing great.
good, bro.
All right, man. Thank you both for joining me once more on this epic journey that we've been on. It's so good to see you guys, even though Vega is still behind the wheel of his car getting home. So, that's just to show off the dedication. You got Kareem
right.
that
That's
is
that's
up
what it
in
is.
the middle of the night. It's like 1 o'clock for my boy, and he's out there repping for Snyder. So you got to give him love for that.
You know
Much
it.
love.
You know it.
And yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Kareem.
I'll do anything for Zach and you guys. So yeah.
That's good to know. But you might want to be careful how you say that because you'll never know what I'll ask you to do.
All right.
And I also want to welcome and introduce a good friend of mine, my boy, JD, man. How you been, bro?
Again, going good, man. It's good to be on here with you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the
Man,
invite.
appreciate you for coming on. I know this was kind of last minute. There's so much that, we got to talk about, so much that I want to talk about and just like cut up with you guys. And thank you. JD got the skull cap. I got the hoodie in the middle of July, but I don't care. Let's get started by just talking about the release because I think that I don't think that you guys have had a chance to talk about how you felt since we got the announcement. Kareem, how have you felt since you heard that we will be getting Zack Snyder's Justice League cut in a matter of months? How does that make you feel?
Well, first of all, it feels like it was only yesterday since I met you and Vega and these wonderful people from the Zack Snyder community or the Snyder Cut movement. And we were talking so passionately about how we wanted to see that vision get out there. And then flash forward 1 month after COVID hit us, and then we have the greatest news we could hear in a while. And that was exhilarating. It was amazing. It was fantastic. I felt so ecstatic, so happy, so astonished, so surprised that for once, scoopers and reporters aligned and confirmed that the Snyder Cut was going to be announced in this particular day. So I made sure I had the best experience ever. I brought a bottle of wine. I watched Man of Steel. I saw Zack Snyder, and it was a crazy experience for me. And ever since that day, I feel like I've been living in a parallel universe or an alternate timeline where this thing is real, and we can come out of the closet as DC fans and be proud of all the accomplishments we've done. So yeah, that's
I love what you said, especially the part about coming out as DC fans, because I have to admit it was very hard for me to continue being a DC fan,
Yeah.
knowing all of this had gone down, knowing all of the troubles and all of the hurt that's been done to so many people. So it does feel nice to be able to come back to DC, be a DC fan, support their products like I used to do back then. JD, what about you? How have you felt since the announcement of the release of the Snyder Cut?
I mean, for me, I'm still in awe, man. Like it was because I remember getting on that stream and then you're like, okay, we watching Man of Steel. And then as soon as like Henry came on, I said, okay, something's about to happen. Something's about to go down. And then we saw the fans come on too. I said, okay, Zach's really about to do it. Zach's really about to do it. I'm still like on that day, like I'm still like I'm still like in awe. I'm like, as a movement, we all came together and got this done, and it's just so it's great to see that everybody coming together and working for a common goal and seeing Zach definitely appreciates it. The stars of the film definitely appreciate it. So it's so great to finally to get to that point. And as you guys said, coming out of the DC fan, because like as you said, it's been dominated by one other company for the past 2 years. I won't get too deep into that, but it's been somewhere we've been trying to fight for, and now I want to say like we're king of the hill, but we're on top right now. Just nothing we can't do. So it's a great feeling. I'm happy to share it with you guys, and I can't wait to see it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really can't wait to see it.
Hell
Dope,
yeah.
dope. Vega, real quick, how have you felt since we've been told about the release of the Snyder Cut?
Man, it just relieved, and but I guess more hopeful, I guess it's funny because when we had the Man of Steel watch party, I was honestly a little sick to my stomach, and so I was kind of like on recovery mode, and but I was like, you know what, I gotta wake up no matter what, I gotta watch this, and that's that I was like, during that time not even getting much sleep, but I was like, I got to see what's going on, I unfortunately didn't wake up on time, but or not on time to catch it from the beginning, but I woke up on time to catch it. And yeah, just similar, you just when I saw Henry Cavill pop up, it was just okay, the rumors are true. The rumors are true. There's something going to be announced, whether it's Zack Snyder's Justice League or maybe this other rumor of this Man of Steel, whatever it may be. The way I honestly saw it though was like, I think it's more 2 and 1. We just got the announcement for the one though that we've all been asking for. But I don't know. I personally feel like for Henry to have come back, there has to be something sweet in the deal for him to have come back. But yeah, he came on, and then yeah, just like everybody else, they finally I forget her name. She asked the question. What's her name? Uh, I forgot who. The one who asked the mother of all questions.
I think it's Daniela.
Daniela, there you go,
Mhm.
Daniela. So she asked the question, and sure enough, Zach being Zach, man, he doesn't give a full answer. He kind of just beats around the bush. He's doing his thing, I know it was all part of his plan. I know he wasn't trying to purposely tease us, but maybe a little.
No, he
And
was, he was,
he was, yeah, he was.
He knew what he was doing.
He knew exactly what he was doing. And then he kind of like tossed the rock to Henry, and then Henry does the same exact thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of sour because I'm like, oh man, he's kind of like downplaying it a bit, it seems like he's about to go on this tangent of like that one interview, but I was like, okay, no, it's not that. And then when he's finally like, I reckon you should just show it. And then Zach's response, he's like, wait, what? He's like, you should just show it, and I'm like, no way, wait, what? We're not about to see this right now, are we? I'm like, we're not about to see like a director's cut right now, are we? Being too hopeful, I guess. But then, sure enough, that poster image popped up, and dude, it didn't matter how sick I was. I jumped out the bed. I'm like, yo, I just started like, this hype, like what, everybody who was in my apartment, like just, seeing me celebrate, like, and they already knew what the deal was. They're like, it's coming out, it's coming out. I'm like, bro, it's coming out. So, yeah. And then sure enough, like I just go on the Twitter feeds. I'm like, look, everybody's posting it up. And that's that I hadn't even seen that HBO Max already was on top of it, and the AT&T and the DC universe, everybody was promoting it. And it was just an amazing feeling just to see the unity within the DC fandom to this cause, and everybody just promoting it like, yeah, we're doing it, it's finally happening. The fans that wanted this are finally getting it. Yeah, it was just such an amazing feeling. And since then, it's just like, all right, now like my mentality is like, all right, just keep promoting it as much as possible, keep talking about it, so that even for those who still don't know, or for those who are out of the loop, like getting them in, and just also trying to stay, I guess, loyal to HBO Max and make sure they get their love too, because
Yeah.
in the end of the day, they looked out heavy for us on that one, getting Zack Snyder's Justice League on there. It couldn't have been a better platform, and I just can't wait for it to be worldwide for everybody just to be able to enjoy this, man.
I agree with you, man, and I feel exactly the same way. It was a roller coaster. I thought we weren't gonna get it, and then we got it, and then it's been a party ever since. And I'm really happy, and I'm really proud and honored to be part of this movement. I feel like we've accomplished something that's never been done before, and we did it together. We worked hard. We planned together. We fought each other, but we also fought together. This thing happened, and when you like, for me, honestly, it's just been seeing how happy certain people have been, that
Yes.
I think like in the process we forgot that this was more than a movie, that there were like so many people that had given so much of themselves for this project, and now their work is finally going to be shared with the rest of the world. I think that for me, that's the part that I'm looking forward to the most. I can't wait to see the work that these people put in, and kind of get to see the final result. And I was so happy to see Zach happy. Zach looked so humbled and touched in that
Man.
video that he made. Affleck looked so happy as well in that video that he did
Yes.
for Kevin
Yeah.
Smith. And most of all, Ray, seeing
Ray
Ray
Fisher,
Fisher
man.
Yeah, that
doing
was
that
that.
video,
That
my
hit,
man. Yeah, that hit me. That's when it hit
Yeah.
me, when I saw his video. How he had to like step away from the camera and like get himself back together. I think like if you can't like see that and not have like an emotional reaction to his
No way.
to it all.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no way. I remember seeing it, and man, my eyes got watery. I'm like, wow, like
Uh,
You know
you
what I'm
just
I, I
felt
ain't
his
gonna
passion.
lie. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was cutting up onions there for a minute, man. I ain't
saying?
gonna lie. Well, so from then on, I guess we just mentioned Ray, so we should keep talking about Ray. A few days ago, he made some. He revealed some information about some of the behind the scenes of what went down on the Justice League set, and he said that yeah, there was a lot of bad behavior from the director that was chosen to lead the reshoots, Joss Whedon, and that his behavior um, was accepted by Jeff Johns and John Berg, who were both producers on Justice League, and who are not producers on Zack Snyder's Justice League, by the way. So when you heard this information, how did you guys react to it? JD, why don't you get us started on this one?
Uh, a good way for me to say it is when I first saw the tweet. For a long while, even before the announcement, I didn't like Johns, to be honest with you. He's not a person that I really vibe with, even with his comics. So it was like I kind of knew stuff to sabotage going behind the scenes, and Grace Randolph did a video on it, and Film God did a video on it, and so like I kind of had a feeling like with their sabotage of the film that Johns was involved, and Josh Whedon, because he's a weird guy, and then John Berg and all that stuff. And seeing Ray being vocal about it, I'm thinking we opened the floodgates now, because I'm thinking a lot of NDAs are now going to start clearing up, and a lot of other people are going to start talking. And honestly, I'm happy that he spoke up, and he was real with it and said that this is what's been happening. These people are terrible people, and their response to it from the fandom was great. That we all were like, okay, we're doing this for Ray, because we had a feeling. We had a feeling that what was, because think about it, it's his first film, not necessarily first film, but his kind of like coming out role. And
I think it is his first film.
His first film.
Yeah.
Got you.
Mhm.
And to have it sabotaged like that by these people, and now he's like, look, I don't rock with these people, and we're like, we with you, man. We stand with you, because he's supposed to be the heart of the movie, and they destroyed it, So I'm with him all the way, and I'm just very happy he was able to express his feelings, and seeing other people involved work with him was just great to see as well, and the fandom as well.
Vega, what about you, bro?
Man, honestly, it's funny because it was funny because like literally before I saw his post, I was on Twitter and I had just put a post before that saying how I wasn't going to like get involved with like, not that, and not to, let me correct it, not that I thought his post was negative, but I can imagine people who saw my first tweet and then saw me retweet his tweet and talk my mess to it. I guess they're like, oh, look at this hypocrite. But but what it was is, I know we're gonna get into this later on, so I'm not gonna touch on it. But there was just pretty much a lot of things that I've seen within the fans and the fandom, and I'm like, I don't get it, So like I just kind of made it kind of like a sarcastic gesture, like, sometimes I think about putting people on blast, for putting others on blast, for putting others on blast, for putting others on blast. And then, and I'm like, wait, I just realized the irony in all this, like why even feed it, and then so like, I all that, and then this happened, and I'm like, I can't hold my tongue on this, because it's because this is just like truth, you know what I mean? Now this is a truth that this guy was standing on, and it's for a long time now we've known, but like I guess couldn't really say so because the ones that needed to say something really weren't saying something. What I mean by that is like the parties that were involved themselves weren't saying anything, like guys like Ray Fisher or like the cast members themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were, they weren't really speaking on what happened, even though a lot of us knew because it got leaked. But since they weren't speaking on it, I was like, you know what? Until like, there's really no point in putting energy into that if they're not putting energy into that. But when he did it, I'm like, now's the time. Okay, like now is the time to actually, talk about what we know happened behind the scenes, and expose the I guess the dirty acts that happened. The griminess of Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns. And not that I can't say that I didn't like the guy. Always. Because I'll be honest. Unfortunately, when it came to his comics, I was like, oh man, they're pretty neat. The New 52 to me was a fresh look on these heroes, and I'm always down for like a diversity in different visions, whatever, different look and whatever, all that. So I thought they were cool, and then even seeing like the movies that came out, they were based on his characters, more so than anything. And so I personally at the beginning I didn't have any issues, but when the leaks came out about what he had done, I'm like, oh man, there's something wrong with this guy. He got too greedy. He just got too greedy. He wanted to be, I guess, the next Kevin Feige of the DC cinematic universe. Which is like, bro, stick to what you do first and foremost. You you write comics, stick to that. Like that's what you do. That's your realm. Let these film directors do what they do, and which, to me, Zack Snyder and his vision, what he had planned was just awesome. And then to find out, like, man, he really had plans for these characters. And then mainly our boy Ray Fisher, he was supposed to be the heart of the Justice League, at least the first film for sure, and the fact that they, these guys came in and thought that they could change that up in a time that something like that was needed. It was so crucial for the times that we're living in right now, to see these different characters, especially an African American, take such a how do you say an important role in this kind of film, way before, let's be honest, way before Marvel even had done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and not that it's a competition, but it is business, and it is a competition between them, Not that I care, because in the end of the day, I'm a fan of whatever, of DC first and foremost, but I do like Marvel stuff too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a DC fan all day. That's my bread and butter.
Kareem, why don't you jump in? How did you feel when you heard the revelations from Ray Fisher?
So for me, I was very proud of Ray Fisher because it takes a lot of courage. That's a given. And the second thing I want to talk about is that Ray Fisher had no reason to come out and talk about Joss Whedon.
Yep.
So that's what I mean by courage, because he got everything he wanted. He got the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and apparently from rumors and all that, I've heard that he's going to be back in a Flashpoint movie with Flash, according to the producer of the Flashpoint movie. So he's getting everything he ever wanted. And for him to risk it all, and that's what I assume, he's risking it all to come out and put it out for the fans to understand that, guys, you were right all along. There was something deeply corrupted inside Warner Brothers backlot, and one of the reasons this corruption was spreading is because one of the founders of one of the greatest comics in DC history is infesting the production with his vision, with his toxicity, with his scandals, with his narcissism, and all that. And who better to get as his puppet than Joss Whedon, someone who's worked on Avengers, who has previous team up experience, and all that. So for Cyborg, or me, Ray Fisher, to stand up against these two big people in the industry who have so much credibility and trust and knowledge, and they have a lot of connections, that takes a lot of courage for me. So I stand with Ray Fisher to the death on that. Another thing I heard is that apparently Joss Whedon was reportedly trashing Zack Snyder's movie because VFX artists that's worked on the Star Wars A Solo Adventure, the standalone movie for Han Solo, they apparently worked on Justice League VFX, and they've heard Joss Whedon explicitly trash the Snyder movies and specifically Justice League. So, if I am to judge Joss Whedon from what he's directed, and specifically Justice League, I wouldn't say Justice League is a bad movie. I just think that Justice League is a sabotage type of movie because it isn't necessarily a bad batch of reshoots, and they were just constructed in a way just to meet the rush deadline. I just feel like everything inside this movie is a disgrace and a big fu to Zack Snyder. That's how I feel.
I'm great. I'm happy with how you guys articulated your feelings on the situation, and I agree with Kareem. I stand strongly with Ray Fisher. Um, when hasn't Ray risked it all? Like, this is the man
Mm,
that 2 years ago was at Comic Con and ripped off his Borg Life shirt with a I,
right.
and we saw the I Heart Zack Snyder shirt underneath. He has been 100% behind Zack and 100% behind this movement from the very beginning, and he's just been so phenomenal. And like Kareem said, it's bravery. He showed such great bravery to finally be able to speak up and tell the world about his experience on those reshoots. And I can say, as a member of the Exiles Network, that we had known about this. We had gotten word from our sources that this treatment had been going on. We couldn't say anything because of, well, we couldn't say anything. But there was more than enough proof and information circling around for people to put it together. And I feel so sorry for Ray and for all of the other people on the set that had to endure what took place. It was bad enough that all the work that they had already done on this movie was being erased, but to have to be dealt with so much of the treatment that they had to deal with, that kind of made things even worse.
Yeah.
And I really hope that Ray is just the first of many to speak up. I hope that the other people that were treated badly or harshly or unfairly will also speak up, because it can't be just Ray. It can't just be just him alone. And the more people that support his story, I think that that will do a lot of good for the people that have been hurt, and that are still looking for a way through. And I'm really happy that he finally spoke up, because, like I mentioned, like I knew about this beforehand, and it was really heartwarming to see him stand up and do this, and I stand with him, and I hope that others will follow in his stead. And I guess I want to use this opportunity to talk about, the other people that he mentioned besides Joss, which were Jeff Johns and John Berg, who John Berg is still affiliated with Warner Brothers. He is still there. And Jeff Johns remained as producer for many of the DC movies that were released after Justice League. And I'm going to be honest, I refuse to support those movies as long as these men were still involved, because I know that it was a debate on the timeline from all sides about what should be done, and a lot of people felt that it was unfair for the filmmakers, for the Wands and the Jenkins and the Sandbergs, to pay for what these men had done. And I can understand that, but I felt uncomfortable paying money that would inevitably reach their pockets,
Mm,
and support them after what they've done to Zach and to the other members of the cast. And and I'm not sure which one of you mentioned. I think it was Kareem who said it was a sabotage job, and that's what Justice League film that we got was. It was a sabotage job. They wanted to eradicate the work that Zach had already done by any means necessary. That was why they brought in Wheaton. That was why they gave him carte blanche to rewrite over 80 pages of the script. That's why they went into those intense reshoots over that summer in order to not only get rid of Zach but of his work and replace it with something that these people thought was be more popular. And for someone like me who not only loves cinema but who has a very strong affiliation for Zack Snyder, his work, and the actors that he casted, it was very hard for me to move forward and to continue to support the DCEU in that new iteration. So I wonder if I was the only one that was that way. JD, how did you feel during this time over the past
Um,
couple of years?
to be honest with you, like I saw that kind of discussion on the timeline, and I have to be agree with you. It was hard to see that how many people were still going, that were so in for Zach, were still supporting what was going on after the sabotage. You know, like personally, I saw it was free, but I got a free ticket for Fandango to see Shazam, and I wasn't really feeling the film, especially with the cameo, you know, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so, to be honest with you, I was like, I'm not really vibing with a lot of the other DCU that as it stood at that moment. You know, I didn't have a lot of information of what they were doing behind the scenes at the time. As I got further into the movement, I started to learn things, and I started realizing that a lot of people that are making money off of, you know, people seeing these films after Zach is the people that kind of, you know, quote unquote clowned him, you know, weren't really supporting him, and just were in it for themselves. And then I started to see more and more that, you know, how they operated, especially when, you know, um, as the movement started to get everything trending, and how they kind of, you know, how they moved, and then how people who were going to be in the future associated with the DCU moved when it came according to Zach, like Ava and people like that. How they, and Tom King, you know, they weren't really. And that's when I started. You know, it was rough, you know. But then that's why I realized that not really going to support people like that. You know, if you people who supported Zach were vocal about it, but the others were kind of like, you know, it's not, it's kind of the side eye stuff, you know. And and that's when I realized, you know, I'm not really giving my funds to any of these people. I'm rocking with Zach. I'm not, you know, and already it's what it seemed like was these people were quote unquote pro Disney, pro Marvel in a sense. And so that was when I was like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
sticking with Zach. I'm not really messing with these people. You know?
Vega, what about you?
Um, well, to be honest with you, like I didn't really know too much of the film industry till I really got more involved with the movement.
Yeah.
So as far as like names are concerned, producers and who was on what, I really had no idea. I'm not so sure if it would have changed my mind, because I did go see like other movies that came from DC. But you know, that just comes from me being a DC fan overall. Like I was always a DC fan even before like Zack Snyder, you know. But uh guaranteed, did I um did I notice the difference? There is a difference. You know, there was definitely a clear difference within the direction it seems Zack Snyder was going to take it to the direction that they were trying to take it, I guess. You know, the studio. Um, but I guess uh you know, again, I did go support those other movies. I don't want to say support them. You know, you say it like that, and now
I
I feel
got
like a
you. I
villain.
understand. I
We
understand.
get
I
you,
got you.
man.
Now,
We get you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shame you on the podcast. That
you
is not
know.
what we're doing here. That is not what we're doing here.
Yeah, we don't do that here. No.
You know, but you know, I did go see those movies, like I said, but because I'm a DC fan, and
Yeah.
and I'm for diversity. I definitely like to see uh everybody's take on characters and what, and honestly, that's what I liked about DC in general over Marvel. I just feel like Marvel has the same, I guess, script slash, you know, covering like just this is how we're gonna do it, and going forward, there's probably like very few films that feel different within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But when it comes to DC, I felt the what was to gain and to that they could take advantage of is that it's different. There's diversity within the films. It's not
Yeah.
all the same. But granted, yeah, I didn't look at it, I guess from the scope of, I'm not gonna support these films that have, I guess, certain producers that clearly did sabotage Zach's film. Um, and
Right.
you
I
know,
get that, man. Fully,
it is
fully.
what it is.
I
It
got
is
you.
what it is,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Fully respect that, man.
That's what's up. That's
Kareem,
what's
what
up.
about yourself, man?
I can honestly say that I supported every movie in theaters countless of times. Again, I want to stress that I'm a DC fan through thick and thin. I know that on the upper echelons of Warner Bros. There are some corrupted people that really ruined the Justice League set. But regardless of that, remember that we are fighting for Zack Snyder and his movie because the cast and crew felt some sort of injustice that their work was not shown to the world. So imagine a guy like Pony Smasher, who's David Sandberg. He's called Pony Smasher on Twitter. He's got this huge movie called Shazam. It's one of his breakthrough movies, and he has amassed an entire crew of diverse crew members from all around the world. And he has this beautiful vision for Shazam. And for me, he nailed every box for an origin movie for Shazam. It's the first ever Shazam movie, so if
Mm.
people were expecting some kind of grandiose or epic fight with some dark touch and amazing visuals, then it's not for them, I guess. But to be frankly honest, it's one of my favorite DC Extended Universe movies. Hell, I know Jeff Jones is a producer on that film, but I try to ignore the fact that he's there. It's like, you can't just cut off the head of the snake. But
Mm.
regardless, you have to understand that beneath that snake, there's a lot of people who actually care for the product that they're directing, and they want to show it to people and for people to love. And I doubt James Wan would want fans not to enjoy his movies. He's such a visual director. He's such a story-driven director. He's a man who loves his craft. He loves giving detail to every single scene he's got. So for me not to go inside a theater and watch a James Wan DC movie, then I feel like I'm betraying him or betraying DC in a way. So I just can't help myself not to go and support these movies. And the only thing that bothered me, to be frankly honest, is I imagine the new DC Universe movies, per se Shazam, Aquaman, Birds of Prey, as if they were joints, like hands, arms, shoulders. And I feel like Zack Snyder's movies are the spine, the vertebra that connects the entire DCE universe together. And when they destroyed Justice League or Butcher it, it felt like these whole joints would collapse without the vertebra. So now we don't have a spine that drives the flow of blood or the motion in between those movies and those joints, and we have just a, a disjointed, convoluted universe with no real singular vision. And Zack Snyder's vision was the only thing combining these diverse directors with their diverse cast and diverse crews together, making a grandiose vision out of all of these together.
All
So
right.
yeah,
All right, I respect that. A lot of different opinions and points of views, and I always appreciate that, and I think that it's good and that it's healthy to listen to one another, even if we
yeah,
don't always agree with each other. I
yeah,
think that
definitely.
that the problem arises when we try to villainize the people that don't agree with us and make them enemies.
Yeah,
Right.
There are plenty of people that I don't always agree with, and because our experiences are different and where we stand on things are different, but I can still respect them, and I feel that
Yes.
uh, that's what we need to keep on pushing forward, to listen to one another, because I do think that if we listen to one another and the flow of information is good, if we keep telling each other what's going on and what we know and everybody sharing together, that it will make the movement stronger as a whole.
Yep.
And
Right.
when we're unified and when we're working together, we do incredible things. And I really hope that we're going to be unified this week when we do this new event for
Yeah.
Ray Fisher's Cyborg. It's a
Yeah.
new event that is pushed on by the RTSC account. And also by Fiona, who's back on the timeline. And it's so good to have my friend back on the timeline after so long, tweeting and sharing her feelings about all of this. And on Friday, July 10th, we're going to be tweeting out our support for Ray Fisher's Cyborg. We're going to at AT&T, at HBO Max, and let them know that we want a Cyborg movie starring Ray Fisher, who has supported all of us for so long, and now it's our turn to support
Yeah.
him. So I think the account wants everyone to take a selfie doing the Ray Fisher, doing the cyborg signal. So I don't know if you guys do know how it's done, and I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna fuck it up. But
Oh, the
yeah, it's yeah. There you go.
It's
I
all
think
good.
I
Yeah.
almost got it. I almost
yeah.
got it. So everyone needs to take a selfie, hit the
I think
gesture.
it's like this.
So,
It's
There
like
you
this.
go. I think Vega got it. Don't follow my fucking lead.
So on your right hand, you're gonna put your hand up like everything's A-OK.
A-OK.
All right? Make sure those
A-OK.
fingers are flat there, up on the board. There you go.
Okay.
And on your left hand, you want to face your palm towards you and put these three fingers down, and you just put the B on the L. Okay? Just no.
No,
You
go
had it
back.
right. Just keep it like that.
Oh, that's
don't,
it.
Don't twist. Put it up top. There you go. And now you've got Borg life. Borg
life,
So how do you guys feel about this event? Are you guys going to participate? Are you guys going to be tweeting along with everybody else on Friday?
Hell yeah. Hell
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, we stand with Ray Fisher, man. We stand
All
with Ray
right,
Fisher.
awesome.
Let's do it.
And I just want to add right now that I have gotten word that someone very special is going to be joining in the event on Friday. So if you don't want to miss out on it, you got to be part of it. You got to
Yeah.
jump in. You got to tweet. You got to show
Woo!
support. And we've already seen what our support can do. We've already seen that we can move mountains when we work together. So I hope
Yes.
that the entire movement will be there on Friday and do what's necessary to support Ray Fisher.
Can
Yeah.
I jump in there?
Go for it, Jay.
I wanted to say too, like if you're one of those people that are busy, like you have to work, blah blah blah. TweetDeck is your friend. You can schedule tweets to send out, with that, so that we get your support as well. We got all hands on deck for this one.
All right.
Hell
So
yeah.
have you guys noticed Fiona back on the timeline? Have you guys had the chance to interact with her? Have you guys, been able to show her some love? Because it's been a while.
Definitely had the chance to like retweet all of the things she's tweeting out. Definitely haven't reached out personally, but it's still good to see her back on the timeline, man. It's just been so long, like I just remember she was like so active, in the beginning and so going hard, and then just to see like, I mean, I know she had things going on personally and whatnot, so it's all understandable, and but it's definitely great to see her back. Definitely.
JD, what about you, man?
It's amazing to see, and it also is great for everybody because it's a boost that when she showed up, the boost that came on the timeline was amazing. It's just it's great to see her active, and everyone else in the fandom was great too to just boost her up even more at that time. So that was great to see it, and I didn't realize it had been so long.
Man.
And so, but it was great. It was great to see her back.
Kareem, what about you, bro?
Yeah. Like, she has a way of unifying the fans, and since we've been divided on a lot of topics nowadays, it just feels so reassuring to have Fiona back and seeing her tweet again, seeing her active, seeing her vocal. I guess it's a good day to be a Snyder Cut fan because she's one of the founders of that movement, and I'm not here to diminish anyone's influence over that. It's just I'm overjoyed with that. Fiona's returning means that we can get behind her once and for all. And just to add one little thing, I know Fiona's one of the founders of that movement, but I just wanna give a shout out to someone that I think introduced me to this movement, and he just vanished out of Twitter. And I have massive respect for him. And he was one of the most vocal and aggressive and like assertive people and pragmatic people for the Snyder Cut movement. I don't know if you guys have heard of Leonidas.
Oh yeah, yeah, Leo,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
Where
Oh,
has this
yes,
legend
that's
He
that's a
vanished?
dude.
definitely,
That's a
yeah,
dude,
he
man.
did vanish
Leonidas.
though.
yeah,
That's the
Yeah,
homie.
yeah.
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 Leo's one of the good ones, man. And I hope that wherever he is, that he's doing well and that he knows that we're thinking of him. But yeah,
Yes, sir. If you're
he's a
watching
dude.
this, man, we here for you, bro.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I just want to add that I'm really happy Fiona's back. That's my girl. We go way
Yeah,
back to the BVS Wars days. That's my homie. I love that girl to death, and she's. I'm so happy she's back, and I hope she stays around because we're gonna need her in the months to come because we might have gotten the announcement, but this is not over, guys. There's a lot of still coming forward.
yeah,
We were talking about this off the pod before we started recording that even though we did have the announcement that when the movie drops, it's probably going to get a lot of the same reactions that BVS did. And that it's going to be up to us to be there and to curb that negativity and to
yeah.
push our positivity and our love for that universe and remind the world why it's so important that it's there. So I want
Nice.
everybody to be united. I want everybody to work together in order to push that message forward.
Yes.
So moving on, man. It's been such an exciting time. There's been so many questions and so much news and rumors floating about what's to come and what's gonna happen. How does this change things? And Zach has been Zach, and he's been very vocal on Vero, talking with his fans and sharing information and so over the past couple of days on Vero, he's been asked a few questions. One fan asked him if we're going to be going deeper into the Snyderverse, and Zach's response to that was, "You're deep in it now." Another fan
Woo.
asked him about the possibility of a Green Lantern in the Snyder Cut, and Zach replied with a wink emoji. And one fan asked if the Snyder Cut will have the original Steppenwolf design, and Zach replied, "Is that not well known already?"
Oh,
But out
gee.
of everything that he
Uh,
mentioned, the thing that got me the most excited was when he was asked how this version of Justice League is going to be so different from the one that was meant to come out back in 2017. And
mm,
Zach said that the one that was going to be released in theaters in 2017 was going to be a very heavily compromised version of his vision, but that the one that we're going to get now next year, Zack Snyder's Justice League, will be 100% Zack Snyder. So I just want to talk really briefly about what you guys make of that statement and just how you feel about it. Kareem, why don't you get us started?
So sometimes they say everything happens for a reason, and sometimes you have to take the long road to reach wherever you want to go. So imagine us in 2017. We'd never have met each other. We would have never fought so hard for this movement. We would have never raised donations
mm,
for the suicide prevention. We would have never hung billboards or met these amazing people or actually connected with Zack Snyder on a personal level. We wouldn't even connect with him on Vero or go to the comment section to ask him more questions. We wouldn't have met Fiona or these amazing people from the movement. We wouldn't have done a poster contest. We wouldn't have dissected Batman versus Superman from A to Z. We wouldn't have hyped up the Justice League release as we are now. I mean, 2017 to now is a whole different game because right now, as Zack Snyder said, we're deep inside the Snyderverse. We're not just getting a compromised version. I think he's gonna be as loyal as he can to the vision he spoke about in the Snyder Con last year, in which he said he wrote a script with Chris Terrio that was a horror movie rather than an adventure fictional movie that every comic book movie wants to go through. So I think he's gonna bring a lot of horror aspects. He's gonna amplify the parademon's scariness. He's gonna add the old Steppenwolf design, which will make Steppenwolf a fearful enemy for the Justice League and an enemy to be revered, to be worshipped, to be scared of. And for me, that's amazing. I mean, if Irishman can be released on a streaming service with a 3 hour, 30-minute movie, a superhero movie of the caliber of Justice League can have a 4 hour movie. Lord of the Rings has that. Gladiator has a 3-hour cut. BVS has a 3-hour cut. A lot of movies have been doing that nowadays, and sometimes you need very long runtime so you can depict everything exactly as the director has envisioned it.
Yeah.
Because a film like Justice League has so many characters, so many scenarios, so many foreshadowing to a bigger universe, nightmare sequences, cameos, twists and turns, and ups and downs. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting
Vega,
the full picture.
Vega, jump in. What do you think about this uncompromised Snyder cut?
Man, it's a beautiful thing. It just takes me back to our first round table where we were discussing like, what do we think we're gonna get, and uh, do you think we're gonna get everything? I like I said then, I do think we are gonna get everything. And even it's even more promising now when he's saying that there's no compromise. Um, but I do love what Kareem brought up, and that's that um, had 2017 not went the way it went, we would have gotten a compromised version. Imagine that. Imagine that. Like, so, I mean, granted, I don't, yeah, obviously, I'm not saying, well, I guess to just say it is, I still feel for his loss, first and foremost. Like, that's just, let's just not pretend like that didn't happen. You know, it did. And that's my condolences still to him and his family. And it was tragic. And unfortunately, then the things that followed after are just like within the studio are just were wrong and dark. But all that happened, and we lucked out from seeing, I guess, this compromised version, and in a good way, I guess. And we got what we got, which was the Justice League, and that was like, I don't know, a disgrace. Um, and but here we are. We've done so much. We've accomplished so much because of what went down, and it almost just seems like purposed, destined. Uh, for those who believe in in that, and I do. I personally do. And just to see us all come together from all different parts of the world under this one banner of just justice for Zack and for the crew and for the cast, that worked on that film, and director integrity, and creative rights for these directors to give what they want, and the things that we've been fighting for, all because of just 2017, and here we are now, 2020, no compromise. I'm pretty sure you guys saw the interview with Zack for the Snyder Con that he had, where he was kind of like talking a bit about things, the things that him and Chris Terrio wanted to do, but the studio shut it down. And it's like, so thinking about that, I mean, my mind just runs wild just thinking about what we're about to see and what the things he just keeps dropping out there. Like you mentioned, even like yesterday, what the things that he was answering, like with the Green Lantern, and we're getting the OG Steppenwolf look, this look that's way more scarier, way more intimidating, way more just like, oh yeah, that's the bad guy right there. What we got, I don't know if you guys watch Ping Pong, but you mentioned that
Yeah.
somebody called.
Yeah.
So he's like, somebody mentioned that he was the one we got from the Justice League was like the dude from Power Rangers. So I'm like, man, it's for real. I don't know what we got there, but it was just a disgrace, man. But to see that we're finally going to get this non-compromised version of what Zack wanted to give us is, and then just knowing what the little details we know, and or maybe for some the greater details we know, is just so hopeful, and just lets us know we're about to see something amazing here. And I just can't wait, man. I really, every day I'm just like, man, I watch BVS Ultimate Edition just to, just to like calm me down and keep me down, and Man of
Exactly.
Steel. But even then, after I'm done with BVS, I'm like,
Yeah.
I wish I could just watch Zack Snyder's Justice League right now.
I feel you, bro. I'm with you on that. JD, what about you? What do you think about Zach's comments?
I'm really like, it gets me really excited for what we got in store, not just with Zach's movie, what we have going forward, that it's no compromise. When you think about how early on he was sharing screens of like stuff he had planned for getting the Aquaman and things he had planned for, telling about Flash and Iris, and we're not getting a compromise now. We're in this mention about we're deep in the Snyderverse. What can we do going forward? You know, it's great, honestly, because you got Ray Porter now out here, Dark Side, you know, going ham with everything, and which is great. You know, it's and then the black suit, which is personally one of my favorite comic series is Superman Beyond, where it's kind of him in the future with the black suit, and just seeing that in a live action, it's gonna be awesome. And now that he's not compromising at all, we're gonna see the full blown thing that he wanted planned. And I think, especially with him and Terrio, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, and I'm just really excited and can't wait for it. To be honest with you, I really can't wait for it.
My man, I agree with everything that you said. I am so beyond happy. I think you know, maybe Kareem mentioned it earlier, or I think it might have been Vega, about how all this kind of feels like it was predestined. You know,
Yeah.
like you know, 2016. That's when I came onto Twitter to fight for Batman v Superman, and nothing has ever been the same since. You know, it's like we came together for this purpose. We came together for this, that we needed to be together before so that we could get this to happen, and it feels like we have. And it's so incredible to think that we're gonna get what we wanted, not just, you know, Snyder's cut of a movie. We're going to get the movie that he wanted to do. We're going to get the movie that he wanted to make originally, before others came in and told him what he should do. We're going to get an artist's true vision and true work, and honestly, nothing makes me more excited than that. I think that he's so unique in the way that he approaches filmmaking and storytelling, that I can understand why it's a lot for some people, but for those of us that embrace it and that love it, I think that we are so rewarded for that. And I think that we have made so much noise and we have shown so much support, that now the powers that be understand that there is a large population that want this.
Oh, yeah.
And to give Zach carte blanche to do whatever he wants, I think that we're gonna get something that we have never seen before, and we gotta be ready for it. And I wanted to mention before we move on about Steppenwolf, his design, and I want to give props to Vinaldo, because Vinaldo has been talking about this for a long time on the timeline. He's told us time and time again that the hard work for the design was already done ahead of time, that they had already done all of the design work, that all that really needed to be done was to replace his original Steppenwolf design with the design that we got in the theatrical cut. So I just wanted to mention him because he was on top of it before many people were. And it's really exciting and invigorating that we are going to get that original Steppenwolf design in the Justice League cut of Zack Snyder. And it really makes you wonder, what else are we going to get? Are we going to see Darkseid kill Lois in the Batcave? Are we going to get to see that? Are we going to get more of the dark storyline that we saw in Batman v Superman, with an evil Superman killing Batman? Like, how much of Zack's are we going to get to see? And is it just this one movie, or is it going to be expanded onto multiple different stories? And I think JD mentioned it with Henry being there. I think that it gives us a hint of what's to come. And I am incredibly excited. I mean, Green Lantern, possibly. We've heard rumors from Grace Randolph that it might be Ryan Reynolds that is going to, take up the mantle once more. And I would be glad to see that. I would be really happy to see Ryan Reynolds in a Zack Snyder directed Green Lantern. And it's just such an exciting time for us after all the things that we've been through over the past years. It's really, really something that we have to look forward to, and that I hope that we'll all be able to enjoy together. And like, speaking of what's to come, there have been so many stories and so many rumors around this Flashpoint movie. I think somebody mentioned that we might get Cyborg back in that Michael Keaton might be coming back. There's rumors about Christian Bale, that it might be a celebration of all of DC. So what do you guys think about a lot of these rumors that we've heard? Kareem, get us started on that.
Well, I truly believe, like, I have this instinct when it comes to when reporters are saying something wrong or something right, because I've been following the DCU's growth ever since Man of Steel, and I truly believe Cyborg's gonna have at least some sort of cameo in Flashpoint. That's a first. That's a victory for Ray Fisher, and I truly believe that because Barbara Muschietti, who's producing Flashpoint, who's the wife of Andy, who's the director, she commented several times on pictures regarding Cyborg and Flash's relationship, and she spoke in a different language, obviously, but she seems very positive that we're gonna get to see the dynamic between Cyborg and Flash. That's the first. Second of all, she's also commented on another post which showcases a contrast between her and her husband, the director of Flash, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohen. So I truly also believe that we're gonna get a cameo of Jeffrey Dean Morgan in the suit with Lauren Cohen as the Flashpoint Joker. Now, to which how much they will perform in the movie, I'm not sure, but I'm just so positive. I believe that there will be a cameo from Flashpoint Batman and the Flashpoint Joker. Now, to address Michael Keaton rumors, I think this will be the biggest announcement in DC fandom, and they're gonna want to showcase that by enjoying Ben Affleck's Batman, that does not disqualify you from enjoying Keaton's Batman. By enjoying Robert Pattinson's newly releasing Batman movies, that does not disqualify you from enjoying other Batman incarnations. So, as a DC fan, now is the time for us to celebrate a victory, in which case we all can enjoy our different favorite Batmans together. It means you get a Batman, I get a Batman, we all get a Batman. You know? So,
Kareem just turned into Oprah.
yeah. So because why not? And Keaton's Batman makes sense in Flashpoint. He's much more relatable because you've got 30 years worth of fan service in that department. People have always been begging for Keaton to return to some extent. He's gonna be this Kingdom Come Batman with the exosuit, and he's angry, he's beaten up, he's probably done a lot of creepy shit in the last 30 years since Tim Burton's kind of a nut job when it comes to directing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this question was whether just to hear Kareem say all that.
Right.
So basically, I think also it's gonna pave the door. I know Scoopers could be wrong, but it could pave the door for a Tim Burton directed Batman Beyond movie, and who wouldn't want to see that, Ben Affleck or not? So it really feels like the multiverse, and there's something that Ezra Miller has said countless of times. If you watch his interviews in the Chinese premieres of Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald, he says the idea is to make DC universe a multiverse, and also the speedster universe. And Vega, I know you're a Flash series fan, so I guess you know where I'm coming from with that. And the first podcast we spoke, I told you about that. Like, they're gonna make the Flash connect between these worlds, which opens the door to so many possibilities. You've got the Snyderverse, you've got the DCEU that you guys don't like, I guess, the one that incorporates B-list movies and all that. You've got the Keaton universe, in which the Batman Returns movie and the Batman 1989 movie came out, and potentially a Batman Beyond movie. You've got loosely connected the TV shows, just to give them a little bit of credit for what they've done with the Crisis show. You can probably get many other verses connected to that, and this will be like a big love letter to all DC fans to come together for once and for all and understand that, hey, Snyder fans, you don't have to be at war with me if I don't like Zack Snyder, and vice versa. We can all coexist together, and that's a strong message for diversity and creative difference, and the difference of choice and difference of perception and difference of interest. So yeah,
I appreciate you saying that, because it calls back to a lot to what Jim Lee said when he was asked about the Snyder Cut a few months ago. And I think that if that's what they're going for, then I would appreciate that, because for a very long time they have made Snyder fans feel as though they did not belong, and they've done that through interviews and through things that have been said, and it was really heartwarming to hear Jim Lee say, if you're a fan of Snyder's universe, then you're a DC fan no matter what anyone says. So Vega, what about you?
Oh man, what else is there to say?
Kareem did kind of say it all.
He kind of said it all, So I guess I'm just gonna say, what Kareem said was pretty spot on. I mean, I really agree with everything he said 100%. And even what you just brought up, that was actually your response was gonna be my response.
My bad, bro. I cut you off. That's all, man.
It was just a tie in the Jim Lee thing. I really, if anybody watched that response he made about, when they asked him about the Snyder Cut and how he responded to it, it was clear that he's trying to unify the fandom under under the DC banner again, and open up this world of letting it be known, like, hey, this DC universe is a multiverse, and you know what? I've always felt like that was something they were trying to implement since the beginning when they released Man of Steel. It was just not coming across, and maybe because there was already this, behind the scenes battle going on and hidden agendas and stuff. But because I even remember then, when people were first upset that Ben Affleck was cast as Batman, everybody was like, "No, it has to be Christian Bale. We have, Christian Bale is Batman," and it's like their response is like, Christian Bale is Batman, and this is this Batman, and they're all Batman, So, and they can coexist. They were already hinting on that idea. Like this is a multiverse. And then even when people were then upset, like, oh wait, we want Grant Gustin as Flash. He's already the Flash over Ezra Miller, and it was like, hello, like Grant Gustin is Flash, Ezra Miller's Flash. It's okay. They were trying to let us know, like, but again, like I said, there was just unfortunate, I guess, just bad blood happening behind the scenes, and whatever happened. But yeah, I think the move here is they're trying to introduce this multiverse for sure. To what extent, I guess, is all these rumors true? I don't know. I definitely am strongly on the whole cyborg thing. I think for sure we've gotten more rumors on that, more than anything, and more like, I don't even want to say rumors anymore. I want to say confirmation, and him being in the Flash film. So that alone is just dope in itself. And if we get Jeffrey D. Morgan and I forget the other actress's name, but
Lauren
who could
Cohen?
be Lauren Cohen, to be the Joker for that. I mean, that'll all be awesome and dope to see that. Because keep in mind, I think when they asked the director of the Flash film, he said that it's gonna have hints of the Flashpoint paradox. It's not going to be the Flashpoint paradox. It's going to be elements of that, things that are going to be, I guess, to that, but not the exact story we know from the Flashpoint paradox. So with that being said, I mean, yeah, that means anything's on the table right now, So if it's Michael Keaton coming back with his Batman, Christian Bale is it needed? Not necessarily, but it'd be appreciated. I think most definitely.
Awesome. JD, what about you? Oh, my bad. I thought you were done. JD,
oh no, go ahead.
All right, JD, what about you, my man?
I'm totally with it. I think that for me, the kind of confirmation was with the Crisis when we saw Ezra come in with Grant. That Crisis, joint thing was like that. Okay, I see where they're going with this. So we're really gonna do a multiverse, and it's got me excited because there's so many stories that we can see. There's so many stories that we can, we talk about Batman Beyond. We talk about kind of doing with other stories. There's so many that we can explore. Because now you have your whole the DC universe shows too have kind of their own universe. It's a whole other amalgam of things that that we open the floor for. So there's so many opportunities for directors that are up and coming that want to tell a story with this DC multiverse to kind of jump on the table. They want to, someone really likes a character to want to explore a film for it. You got opportunity. We got a whole multiverse that can work with each other, which is great. And I think that, especially when I noticed Vega's shirt of how accepting DC is of it now, when they start to notice that the work that we put in. And so it's great to be in this kind of space that we're in now, that we can, there's so many stories that we can explore with this multiverse. So I'm really excited for what we got on the table.
Dope. I agree with all three of you. I'm really looking forward to the future. It's really nice to be able to look back at Zack's movies and not feel as heartbroken as I once did. To never get to see the continuation of Batman v Superman, to never know what happens after the dirt rises from Clark's grave.
Yeah.
It's nice to finally be able to walk into the future with a much more brighter and hopeful outlook, and I cannot wait for what's coming. And honestly, for me, it's nice to be able to be a full-fledged DC fan again, and I'm really excited to see how many of these rumors turn out to be true, because we've been
Yeah.
here before. We've been here before, but I am looking forward to seeing how much of these rumors are true, and yeah, there's even stuff about if Batfleck is going to come back, and some people are saying that there's an announcement that's imminent, and I hope that's true, and I just hope that we're rewarded for all of the hard work that we put in over the years, and that's the four of us here, and that's everyone that's been part of this movement from the beginning, that's jumped on in the middle of it, that's participated, that's used the hashtag, that's donated, that's done a podcast, that's written an article, that's talked to their friends in real life about it. um, everyone in this fandom deserves a great level of gratitude and love, and you've inspired all of us. And I know many times that I had my doubts, but this movement kept me going. People in it kept me feeling that this was a possibility and kept me wanting to fight. So I just wanted to thank everyone for everything that they've done, and I'm so happy and so excited, and yo, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
You know it.
It's
Zack
coming.
Snyder
It's
just
Sir.
coming. It's coming. Before we go, I just want to throw out there that Zach tweeted this weekend. It doesn't happen often, but whenever Zach tweets, it's always an event. And he told everyone that the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is now available for streaming on HBO Max. So it would be amazing. It would be awesome if those of us that can, because unfortunately, HBO Max is not available everywhere yet. But for those of us that are in the movement and that are in North America that have access to HBO Max, watch it. Tell your friends to watch it. Push it. Do everything that you can. Tweet about it. Talk about it. The more the higher the numbers are for Batman v Superman, the higher the numbers are for the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and let's not forget Army of the Dead is also on the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We want these movies to do well. We want
Yes.
these movies to be successful, every single one of them. So we did our part. We got to have to keep working. We have to keep showing our support for Zach, because the people that hated him in 2016 are still very much there, and they're still going to try to push their narratives. And the only way to counter those narratives is with our support and our dedication to Zach and his work. So please, if you can, stream Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition on HBO Max.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think this is a good place to end it. I want to thank every single one of you guys for coming on. I know this was kind of last minute, so I appreciate every single one of you. Kareem, you more than the others because it's really late for you.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
forgot.
man.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. Thank you to the Release the Snyder Cut account. Thank you to every single member of the Release the Snyder Cut movement. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Ray Fisher.
Yes,
And
yes.
thank you to everyone who has taken a part in this. Before we go, can you guys tell people where they can find you? JD, go up.
At Def Justice on Twitter and Instagram. If you have a question, let me know. I'm always available.
Awesome. Vega, what about you?
Twitter at This Is Vega the Boss. YouTube El Divino Vega. That's about it.
Awesome. And Kareem, what about you, bro?
You can find me on Twitter on Miasan Kronos. It's Miasan Kronos. And I'm the guy who did the viral post on Joss Whedon that got like 3,000 tweets. Like when Lois Lane says, "I'm not a lady, I'm a journalist," and underneath that there's Martha telling Lois she's the 30th young reporter you've ever met. Yeah, that's the worst thing ever. And you can find me on Instagram, easy for Karim, basically.
Awesome. Thank you,
All right.
all three of you. And you can find me at ManUnited0710 on Twitter. You can find me and the rest of my crew at the Exiles Network on Twitter. So please give us a follow. Listen to our podcast if you enjoyed this. I'm sure we'll have a couple of episodes that you're interested in. And
Oh, for sure.
you know, Zack Snyder's the man, and we're here to support him, and we're not going away. We're gonna keep doing
You
these.
guys are the man. You guys are the man, guys.
We're gonna keep doing these roundtables. They're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep talking it up. We're gonna keep building up hype for Zack Snyder's Justice League, for Army of the Dead, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
want all of this stuff to work out. And
Yeah.
I think that together, there's nothing that we can't do. So once more,
Mm.
thank you everyone, and have a good night. And you know, release the Snyder Cut.
Release
At least
Snyder
it's
Cut.
not a boy.